I think I'm ready. Yes, I am ready. Hey, hey. You guys, thank you for coming. My name is Reese Roberts. Let me get this started. My name is Reese Roberts, and this is Entertain the Thought. I really appreciate you guys for coming here every week to listen to me talk. It's just refreshing. I got some stuff for you, sister. Is Romaine? I got some things for you. So today, thank you, Romaine, for reaching out because sometimes I really do just get on here and start talking. I don't always prepare for the message that I want to bring because sometimes it's just what's on my heart. It's just divine intervention that allows me to bring messages to you just from within myself. So, um, I appreciate you guys for being in here, and I appreciate you for allowing me to give you the information that I came to give. So, today, what I want to talk to you about on Entertain the Thought is fear. And I also want to talk to you about your attachments to your ego. I've had a couple of experiences in the last day or two, in the last maybe 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to extend that. I'm going to say since Friday. I have had some experiences in my life that have opened my eyes to get me to see just how fearful I am about the greatness that is in me. And honestly, each person has a huge amount of greatness because we all have a huge amount of individuality. And this is what I want us to discuss right now because there's a story in the Bible that we should all be familiar with. And I want to really highlight it because it causes me to reminisce on myself quite a bit. And it also causes me to have a bit of nostalgia about what it means to have purpose and to also stand in your own way of that purpose. And I wonder if anybody can tell me what story in the Bible I'm talking about before I get started. It was a story of a person having a great calling on his life, and he was not happy about it. He was fearful. He tried to resist. He tried to run. He tried to reason against it, and it didn't work. Anybody know that story? Give me a comment. Anybody, give me a comment. Who do you think that was in the Bible? A person who had a great calling on their life, yet they were still afraid and still not wanting to move on that greatness or that calling because they were afraid. That is a good guess. Jonah is not right, but Moses is correct. Moses. All right, you guys, I want to talk about Moses because that story has a lot to do with where we are in our society right now. We have individualism being promoted on certain basic levels, but not on spiritual levels where we can embrace what it actually means to be an individual. The way our society promotes individualism is in such a way that we are taught to compete, that we're taught to sort of have this comparison where one value is greater than the other based on social conditioning, based on how society is taught to view certain things, whether they have value or not. This is a faulty idea because individualism is designed to give purpose, not to give dysfunction or not to bring a state of dysfunction by way of comparing. So Moses had this affliction in his mind where he was not willing to move forward on the calling that he was given. He was told that he needed to be a leader for his people. And the way he was charged to do that was by speaking to them. He was supposed to be teaching and speaking to these people. That was the one of the callings that he had on his life, was to be a speaker and a teacher to the people who he was supposed to be leading out of bondage. All right. And so this is extremely important because he resisted that. He made excuses. What did Moses do? He told his creator, that he could not do this. He basically said, I'm not good enough. He basically told his creator that he was not good enough to complete this mission. He thought that no one would listen to him because he felt like his articulation was not up to par enough to be considered a speaker, that the people would not understand what he had to say and they would reject him because of that. And so in this exchange that he had with this burning bush, the creator, while he's trying to give all kinds of logic and reason as to why he was not able to move forward in his mission, the creator became upset and basically said, who created you? Who do you think created you? Do you not think that if I told you that I created you for a very specific purpose, and I am telling you that I am supporting you in that purpose, and you're still going to refuse? You're still going to compare yourself with some image that you have in your own mind? It's not even what anybody else said to Moses. Do you understand? Nobody said anything negative to Moses. Nobody came into this private place where he was in a place of communion with the creator. Nobody walked into the room and said, hey, Moses, you can't do that. You can't even talk. Nobody came to him and said that. These were the projections that he had in his own mind. This was his own attachment to his own fear and his own ego. He thought that people would have some objection to him being in this position of authority or this position of leadership that was specially ordained to him by his creator, not because they gave him that inclination, not because they insinuated that dynamic, or not because they insinuated that sentiment. It was simply because this is how he felt about himself. And what did he do? He tried to run from that thing. But see, this is the thing that I love about consciousness, and the thing I love about the universe, and just simply being who you are. First of all, there's nothing you can do to change what's inside of you. Moses received the calling for what he was called to do because of who he was and what he had inside of him. It wasn't because his name was Moses. It wasn't because he lived in a certain place or because he knew a certain amount of people. It was because he was who he was. It was because he was Moses. And it was because what he had inside of him was specifically placed there so that it could be extracted out of him by the universe itself. He had to be a leader because he had to be the person to serve this purpose. If it wasn't going to be him, it was going to be someone else. But that person would have had the same issue. Either you submit to this or you will be forced to live out this purpose in a bunch of discomfort because you're not willing to submit to it. You will have to resist, and you'll have to live in a difficult environment mentally because you are mentally resisting what you were created to do. And so this is where Moses reaches this place of intense fear, where he begins to, like I said, he sabotages himself in such a way. This is what my sister was talking about, that she was manifesting things and she began to get fearful and sabotaged herself because of the manifestations that she was creating. Now, there could be a bunch of reasons as to why a person would want to run or sabotage their own calling, their own purpose. And I'm going to tell you that's because of ego attachment and fear. We have fears that are attached to our callings. In Moses' situation, he was so afraid that he had to receive help. He was so afraid that he had to enlist, or that his brother Aaron had to be enlisted in what he was called to do. And Aaron, this is something that I feel happens quite a bit in the spirit. Aaron's calling may have been disrupted because Aaron was not called to be Moses' helper. Aaron wasn't called to be a helper. He was called to be Aaron. But because Moses was so fearful, he wrapped up Aaron into his fear and ego attachment. And this is why you know it's an ego attachment, because how did Moses know that Aaron didn't have a life he wanted to live in his individual purpose and on his individual path? But because he was so afraid, and this needed to be done in the universe, in the spirit, the leadership had to happen. Moses had to enlist the help of Aaron. And it's ego, because again, Moses' ego says, I can't do this. I need help. Pull him on in here. I don't care what he got going on, because my ego says I need him. Even though the creator itself said to me already, I don't need help. All you need is the source and of who you are, the source of materials and talents and skills and ability in you. You already have it. You don't need help. But again, this is where the sabotage comes into play. Because see, if Moses would have had it his way, the creator would have said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll use someone else. You don't have to worry about the burden of this calling. And I'm going to tell you what probably was going through Moses' head, because it would have been going through my head. These are the things that happen in my mind on a regular basis when I have to get a glimpse of what I'm called to do. The Bible tells you that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Okay. The glory that is supposed to become of your life. And so when you get a glimpse of it, because eyes have not seen, this is what's in your mind. These are your visions for your future. No eyes have seen this besides this one eye right here, the eye of the creator. You understand? You get intimidated by that. I get intimidated by it. You mean to tell me I have to live this grand life? Do you know how much responsibility comes with that? When the creator says, Moses, you have to lead these people. You have to put yourself on display. You have to be open to their ridicule. You have to be open to their criticism. You have to be open to their eyes staring into your soul, looking to you for guidance and leadership and answers. You have to be the one to be wrong when you're wrong and to be held accountable for that by these people that you're leading, because you can be guaranteed that if you're leading them, they're going to expect for you to lead them in a direction that is beneficial to them. Otherwise, they're going to see you as an enemy. Please hear me when I'm telling you. You're afraid of it because your ego tells you that you're not prepared for it. How do you conquer this? What Moses should have done was said, instead of him being afraid and saying, I don't want to do this, I need help, I need this and that. What would have been a much better way to approach the situation in willful intention and determination to live out a calling, I would have said, can you teach me? Can you show me the ways of being a good leader? Because I'm scared that I'm not going to do this right. And I don't want to fail at the calling. And this is what another thing that we fear is failure. When you know that you're being watched, when you know that you're being held accountable, when you know that a great burden is on you to fulfill this task, to follow through, to complete the mission, the burden is heavy. How many people was Moses leading? This is a nation of people, women, children, elderly people, soldiers, visionaries. You understand? It's a great calling. It's a great pressure to have that on your shoulders. And then to not feel like you have it all together yourself and you're being called into this. It's like, hold up, wait, I didn't agree to that, sir. Wait, I never said I was going to do that. You just told me that I have to do this and now you want me to just do it. But see, the thing about it is that if you lose the attachment to your ego when looking at these situations and you say, hey, self, wake up. Look at all these people who need you. You were chosen because you do have the ability. This is your self-talk at this point. This is how you're talking to yourself. Moses was telling himself he was not capable. Moses was preaching to himself that he did not have the tools, that he did not know where to go, that he did not know how to articulate himself or how to win the affections or the respect of the people. But what he could have done was enriched himself so that he would have felt prepared. He would have felt up to the challenge. he would have felt like there was something he could do for these people. When you look at the people themselves, come on, Moses. When you look at them and you see that they're in need of what you have, the ego is supposed to submit. The ego is supposed to say, okay, what do we have to do? These people need me. I'm supposed to be a leader. I am supposed to fill this order. And if I don't, who will? Suppose the next person is just as afraid as I am. Suppose the next person is just as unwilling as I am. Suppose the next person is just as afraid as I am. Then what? All these people go without. All of these lost souls remain lost. All of these unanswered questions remain unanswered. All of this unfulfilled potential remains unfulfilled. All of this nation of people remain where they are, stuck. Why? Because me, one person who had the substance to free them, was also stuck in my own resistance to my own self, standing in my own way of what I was led and called to do. Did you just open the door?
Yes.
You did just open the door. High five. Good job.
I did it.
You did it. Good job. My baby has been working on that for a minute. He ain't been able to twist the knob and to come in. Good job, baby. So again, this is where we have to understand that when we are called, there's a reason why we're called. There is a program. It's a movie on Netflix called Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch, I think it's called. It's an interactive movie where you are allowed as the watcher of the movie to make decisions for the participants or the actors in the movie. You're able to determine which direction they go. It's very lifelike, the experience interacting with this movie, because it's designed to show you how the universe works with purpose and destiny. Because every time you make a binary decision, yes or no, is what I mean when I say that. Whenever you make a binary decision with intention, you are deciding how you're going to reach your fate. Are you going to reach it with much resistance? Are you going to reach it with much trouble? Are you going to reach it with much doubt and fear? Or are you going to reach it with much affirmation? Are you going to reach it with much positivity? Are you going to reach it with much faith? Are you going to reach it with much of your determination and motivation? Binary decisions. You have either negative or you have positive. And so this movie is designed to show you that as you make these binary decisions, what you're doing is the same thing. You're reaching your fate. The only thing that you're doing in the meantime is deciding how you're going to reach it. Are you going to reach it in such a way that you are welcoming it or you're resisting it? Are you aligned with it or are you dysfunctional? How are you allowing your purpose, your individuality, your uniqueness? How are you allowing it to be expressed? Because your decision to doubt that you have this greatness inside of you because of all the things that you fear about the greatness itself, it determines whether or not you reach the greatness. Are you going to allow yourself to see it? Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. There's only one eye that has seen the greatness that has yet to come and be manifested in this world. That's the eye that you have in between your eyebrows. It is the power of your own mind that allows you to see that which is yet to be expressed out of your body, your thoughts. And I want to tell you this. Even your thoughts are a form of emotional attachment. You are emotionally attached to your thoughts. You must even give that up. Because the mind of your creator is connected to you by way of your emotions. Okay, this is how you tap into your creator or your creative power. It's your emotional stability. It's your emotional intelligence that allows you to have this connection. So what happens when you're too attached to your thoughts and you egotistically try to take over for your creator? You start creating thoughts instead of allowing your creator to flow through you in your thought process by way of your emotional intelligence. There's a difference here. When you start creating your thoughts by way of your lower self coming in, you allow negativity to seep into your psyche. You allow your ego to start speaking for you. You allow your ego to start saying, I don't think this is possible. I don't think we can do this. I don't see the feasibility in that. But see, your creator will give you nothing but solutions. Your creator is a way maker. Your creator is the way. Your creator is the truth. Your creator is the light. So if you're not giving up your need to think negatively, hear me, you need to think negatively. Your ego, rather, I'm going to say it that way. Your ego needs to speak negatively in order for you to remain attached to it in your state of dysfunction and conditioning. And this is very indicative of the reasons why we circulate negative thoughts so much, because our ego needs it in order to remain alive. Your ego and your lower self, it needs those negative thoughts to remain alive. That's what feeds it energy. That's what feeds it energy to remain a challenge for you, your ego. And the longer you allow the ego to create these negative thoughts instead of just simply rocking with the creator, the creator that has nothing but positive affirmations, nothing but power, nothing but solutions. Like I said, nothing but answers, light, information, data, study, skills, talent. This is the abundance. This is your creator now. Systematically, these are the things that come from your creator. Systematically, this is how your creator affects your mental space. Positive. But then when your ego comes in and says the creator is wrong, this is not possible. I don't see the solution in that. I don't see how that might work. I don't think that I'm strong enough. Ego. Because your creator said so. Your creator said it is so. But if you don't ever believe that, and you allow the ego to tear you away from that knowledge, I should say, because we're not in a state of belief anymore. What we know is what we know to be true. What we know is that we live in an abundant universe. What we know is that every person has talent. Every person has skill. Every person has a form of genius inside of them. Every person has purpose. Every person has a task to complete on this planet. So when we know that, we know it, but yet our ego somehow tells us it doesn't apply to us. These very universal laws that don't apply to us, or the ego will tell us that they don't apply to us. And so we get a Moses affliction from the ego attachment, the Moses affliction, fear-based thinking, which we have all power to change. We have all power to transmute our negative thoughts into whatever positivity that needs to happen. There's always a little bit of light in the darkness. There's always a little bit of truth in a lie. There's always a little bit of sense in some nonsense. You understand? There's always something that you can draw out of something. A bad situation always has a good lesson. A failure always has a teaching moment. And so how could it ever be negative? If you know how to change those things, then why would you ever think yourself to be less than? Why would you ever think yourself to be unprepared? Why would you ever think yourself to be blessings? You're welcome. Why would you ever think yourself to have obstacles that you cannot overcome if you were to learn about them? And this is why I say we should, this is the reason why I say Moses in his story, in an idealistic point of view, or from an idealistic perspective, Moses should have approached the Spirit and the Creator by simply saying, can you teach me this? I don't feel prepared. And I'm going to tell you this, you guys. This is one of the reasons why I think many of us have fear about who we are and what we are called here to do. Listen to me. It is because you are not prepared. You must begin to prepare yourself. You must begin to educate yourself. You must begin to study yourself. Intentions. Study your abilities. Study where you think you are falling short, but also study your strengths. Study where you are succeeding. Study where you feel naturally gifted. Study where you feel ease, where things are easy for you. Study those things and capture them, because that's the seed that you're growing. The positivity is the seed that you're growing. Don't be oblivious to the negativity, but don't allow the negativity to overcome the light, that seed of light, which is the seed of positivity. It may be small, but seeds are small. They're packed full of nutrients, though. They're packed full of substance, because as soon as you start to water that thing with your education, as soon as you start to water that seed, like I said, the things that come easy and naturally to you, you have to allow yourself to educate, allow yourself to grow, simmer in it. Plant that seed of light in the darkness where it's supposed to grow. Get the nutrients out of the darkness of your failures. Come on now. These are lessons. That's nutrients. That seed is growing. When you fail, the seed, which is the things that come naturally to you, you start off. I'm going to give you a very practical example. Okay. Your seed of light, your natural talent, seed of light. This comes from the ethers. Your talent comes from the stars. Your talent comes from your creator. Okay. Seed of light, your talent. You put that in the darkness, which is you stepping out on faith, and you're starting in a blind area, darkness. You have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea where it's taking you. You have no idea where it's going to end up. But you know that this comes easily to you. And you know good and full well that this is your talent. This is your skill. This is your interest. It's a seed of light. You put it in the darkness. You step out that foot on faith and you say, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. But you fail, right? The first time you step out on that branch, you fail. Maybe you succeed. But either way, your failure in the first step, your failure or your success, it taught you something. So you put that in your pocket. It's water on your seed, and your seed starts to break out of its casing, and it starts to touch the soil, where essentially the soil is the darkness. It starts to touch. It starts to blend in. It starts to soak up its environment, that darkness, and the lessons that come in that darkness. You go again, take another step. You succeed or you fail. You fail. Let's just say you fail, and you keep failing. Every time you fail, you learn something. Every time you fall, you learned a new way not to step. That's light. Okay. Now, eventually, your seed will have absorbed so many lessons out of the darkness. Your seed will have absorbed so much fruit, or so much nutrient out of that soil, that it will begin to break up out of the damn soil. It begins to root itself in that soil. But you got a sprout coming up. You've learned a lot from this darkness. You done failed so many times. You done taught yourself all kinds of things by failing. So you no longer have to fail now that you're rooted in this failure, this darkness. Now that you're rooted, because you can stand on failure now. You know, when you fail, it's just, okay, you can stand on some failure. You can stand on that. When you fail, you know exactly how you failed. And you know exactly how not to do that again. You can stand on that. That's firm. It's roots that you're growing in the ground, in darkness of failure and disbelief, and maybe having some resistance. You've learned how to navigate those things. And so now you can stand on them. You're firm. And your seed has now broken into the light. And so this is what it means to be on a personal journey. The story of this seed. Okay. You first go inward into yourself, into darkness. You don't know yourself. That's a dark space to be. It's the unknown. If you have not prepared for your gift, for your greatness, if you have not prepared for it, it simply means that you don't know yourself. You're not educated in the things that will allow you to express this natural greatness that you have inside of you. But once you become educated in that thing, once you've been allowing yourself to fail, once you've been allowing yourself to see what work and what don't work, this is the foundation you're building. But once it breaks into the light, you have bloomed. You're starting to bloom now. Now this is nothing but expression. You can't fail at that. Your seed is firmly rooted in the darkness of who you are. You're firmly rooted. You know exactly why you're here. Because, for example, I'll use myself for an example. And Moses too. I compare myself to Moses sometimes. When I didn't know who I was steadily failing at trying to be somebody else. Because I met so much resistance. I'm going to give you my professional story. I worked in corporate America for a decade and was dying the whole time I was there because it wasn't me. I was failing because I was attempting to be something that wasn't me. I was trying to give things that were not inside of me to give. I was trying to conform to an image that was not an image in my mind. I didn't see myself to be the corporate climber, kissing ass and playing politics. I didn't see that being me. You know, I didn't see myself always trying to go in there with my hair down, you know, and straightened and all this extra stuff, wearing suits. Sometimes I feel like I want to wear my kente cloth. Why not? But I can't do that in corporate America like that. More and more you are able to in certain places. But anyway, I was failing. But the whole time I was failing and coming down on myself, feeling like a failure, feeling like I didn't have anything to offer, feeling devalued, feeling very negative, feeling like, shit just didn't make no damn sense. Why am I here? What am I doing? I'd rather be somewhere else, doing something else. I was learning. Not only was I learning new skills from being in this corporate place, but I was also learning new things about myself. I don't like kissing ass. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like pettiness. I don't like childhood behavior coming from grown ass motherfuckers. I don't like certain things. I was learning. I was also learning my own spiritual fortitude. I was also learning how to rely on myself. I was also learning that hard decisions have to be made sometimes. And even though I might be quitting and resigning from my job that I need, I'm also taking some personal investments in myself. I got prepared and I was no longer afraid. When I quit my job, my hand was shaking when I hit that resign button. You had to do it on the computer. My hand was shaking going to resign that job. But what I knew is that I had preparations in place. I had educated myself. I failed enough. I knew that I had failed enough for me to recognize that this next step was fortified with failure so that it would not be a failure. My next step was going to be a step towards the right direction instead of a step further in the wrong direction. Even though I had been stepping in the wrong direction and I felt like I was behind, I also recognized the lessons that came out of me being behind. And so when I took the step to come back forward in the right direction towards me becoming myself, me having honor in who I was and what I wanted for myself, me being able to submit to myself, not submitting to my fears. Okay, because submitting to your fear is what happens when you are convincing yourself that you're not worthy. You're submitting to your fear. When you're in your mind saying, I cannot do this, when you got the Moses affliction, when you got the Moses affliction and you're telling yourself, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, you're submitting yourself to your own fear. But what happens you have enough failure, when you have submitted enough to your own fear, and you start to turn around and say, listen, I done figured some stuff out from all these failures now. I done figured some stuff out. I'm starting to get a little smart. I can start moving differently because I'm educated. Every time I step my foot out on another branch of faith, what I'm now doing is allowing myself to take heed to these lessons that I've learned in my failure. I'm not just now having faith in things that I don't know, things that I don't see. What I'm now having faith in is that which I have prepared for. I now have faith in those things that I know. I now have faith in those things that I understand. I now have faith in those things that are a part of me by trial and error. Okay. I now have faith in the things that I am able to understand deeply because it's coming from out of me. And because I failed so much, I now know me. I now know what I'm capable of. I know now what I'm not capable of yet. You understand? Because there isn't anything that your mind can fathom that you cannot do. If your mind can fathom it, then that is your mind's way of telling you, let's do it. Hear me when I'm telling you, your mind is a rider. Your mind will ride with you. Your mind will take you some places. All you have to do is dream up that vision and say, this is where I want to go. And also, once you dream up that vision and tell your mind that this is where you want to go, you must also allow your mind to do the work, because you're not going to manifest. Unless you have some heightened abilities, you're not going to be manifesting a brand new reality right in front of your face without some work and without some time. Okay. You're going to have to water the seed. You water the seed by watering your mind. Whatever is naturally in you receives nutrient from your mind, from you expanding your horizons, from you gaining new perspectives, from you welcoming ideas that are not your own, from you analyzing yourself, from you studying yourself, from you studying your environment, studying those people that know you the most, that know you the best. Listen to people, receive constructive criticism well, allow yourself to be accountable for those things that you are wanting in your life. Allow yourself to be accountable for seeking after those things that you want, because that's how your mind carries you. That's how your mind delivers you into a new reality and says, here you go. If you are mentally and emotionally attracted to something, your heart becomes a magnet that is pulling it towards you. You also must know how to let go, because the more and more you're holding on to something and you're chasing after it, watch me try to. This is what it looks like when you're feverishly trying to go after something instead of allowing it to come to you by way of your attraction. Okay. Wanting to control. I want this thing to come to me. And so because I want it to come to me and I need it to serve me in some kind of way, I'm going to reach for it and grab for it. And because I want it badly, I'm not going to simply take my time to reach my hand out, grab it, and do this with no resistance. What I'm going to do, because I don't trust that I have the ability to just simply do like this and grab it, what I'm going to do is like this. You understand? I messed it up because I'm trying to go so hard for it. I'm trying to grab it. I'm trying to control. I'm trying to do so much, trying to reach after this thing. I knock it completely out the way. I knock it further away from me than what would have just happened if I just would have simply been calm, no resistance, no being extra eager, no overthinking it, no nothing. Just reach out and grab it. I think that I want this. I know it's going to serve me. I pick it up. I think of it. I need it. I go to pick it up. I don't need to chase it. I don't need to overthink it. I don't need to worry that I'm going to be able to pick this thing up and grab it and use it. Instead, I simply do it. You understand? That's a very basic But what I want you to know is that when you have these ego attachments, saying, I need to do this right now. I need to do this perfect. I need to have this credential. I need to have this reality. I need to have this man. I need to have this money. I need to have these clothes. I need to have this look. I need to have this position. I need to have this feeling. The more and more you convince yourself that you don't have it and that you can simply pick it up and grab it, that is the more you are pushing it further away from you. When you have convinced yourself that something is for you and all you're doing is educating yourself, enriching yourself, fortifying yourself, expressing yourself, learning yourself, allowing yourself to grow, these things practically just draw themselves right onto you. Whatever it is that you're wanting, whatever it is that you're looking for, the heart that you have for it is what magnetically draws it to you. The more and more you fill your heart with that thing to capacity, it will become a magnet. It will become the thing that draws it into you. And you don't have to feverishly try to go and get it. And I'm going to use money as an example because that's the most abstract thing that we all chase after out of fear. We chase after money out of fear of not having it. And so we try to race to it, chasing the bag. And so a lot of times we lose our morality. We lose our identity. We lose our purpose. We lose our fulfillment because we're chasing after something feverishly without educating ourselves about how we're going to obtain it first. And so what happens is, especially in the pursuit of money, is you allow yourself to observe your environment. You're looking at everyone around you. And because you want money, what you're doing is looking to see how much money they have. And you're also looking to see how they got their money. And you're also looking to see how you can do what they did to get their money. Instead, and this is a generalization. So of course, there are people who don't fit this description. But I'm talking about those of us who are normal. There are people who will, like I said, observe the environment. And the environment tells you in order to get money, you need to be a doctor, a lawyer. You need to be an entertainer, a sports player. You need to be, you need to be overworked. You need to be some kind of serial entrepreneur. What they don't tell you, though, and what you don't necessarily get a chance to just glean from your environment, is that you actually need to be passionate. This is how you draw money to you. Passion and creativity is what draws money to you. And so if you don't know this about your reality, you're ignorant to the fact and you're ignorant to yourself, then you allow yourself to fall into that trap of, I'm going to compare myself to these other people that I see out here getting money. And I'm going to try my best to emulate whatever they're doing to get the money. And then that's how I'm going to get it. But reality says that when you want money, when you want that thing to come to you, and I'm going to tell you this because I don't have a whole lot of money. I'm just now learning these things. So, putting these things into practice takes time, which I'm okay with. I'm not hurting for anything. But what I do know is that attracting this money comes from, I want to put this in such a simple way so that it makes sense. Money does not come from work. Money comes not even from education. I don't even want to say that money comes from education. Education is a small piece of it. But money comes from passion. Money comes from a magnetic attraction to your passion and your work. The more passionate you are about your work, the more you're able to attract money. And so where we fall short, and the reason why many of us are stuck in a lower class of earning income, is because we've allowed ourselves to be removed from our passions. We've allowed this egotistical attachment to comparison to get us in a place where we're comparing ourselves to people around us instead of simply being ourselves. We are trying to figure out how we can benefit off the passion of someone else. That's not how we do that. That's not how the universe returns favors. You must give your own passion in order to reap the benefits of it. You must your own fortitude. You must learn your own lessons. You must fail on your own for that lucrative system to be afforded to you. And the lucrative system is you learn who you are at the beginning of this assembly line. You learn who you are, and then you essentially fall in love with who you are because you love yourself, and you're not going to convince me that you don't. Okay? You start to learn and get to know yourself. Because you're knowing yourself now, then you begin to love yourself. And then once you love yourself and all that is within inside of you, your individuality, who you are, then you become passionate. There's an assembly line here. You become passionate. And when you become passionate, you become educated, because that passion, like I said, is that seed that's in the darkness. You begin to water that passion. And I'm going to tell you what passion does for you. Passion is a natural educator. Passion is a natural teacher of wisdom. Because when you're passionate about something, you naturally want to learn about it. Let's just say, I'm going to use my deodorant again as a example. Let's just say I was passionate about creating natural products. When I see this, okay, baby. When I see this natural product, because I'm passionate about using natural products, about creating natural products, I'm going to take my time and sit here and look at the back of this thing, and I'm going to read every word on the back of it. What did I just do? I just educated myself about something. If I'm passionate about personal development and teenagers or being effective in my life, I'm going to pick up this book because I'm passionate about it. I know that this interests me. I know that when I pick up this book, it's going to grab my attention. I'm going to be reading this page for page, word for word. I'm going to be digesting this. This is going to become a part of who I am. It's going to become a part of my knowledge base. It's going to become a part of my goals. It's going to become a part of my light. When I read these things, I'll be able to not only digest it, but I'll also be able to disseminate it. The next time I go and speak to somebody, I might be able to tell them a bit more about how to be a highly effective person as a teenager because I've read this book, because I'm passionate about it. And so what happens after that? Because I'm able to educate others based on the education that I've given to myself based on my passion, then I become valuable. And what is value? It's money. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought it like that? You understand? There is much to be said about how we go forth in this life. There's order. Everything in decency and in order. There's an assembly line here. Once you become passionate, then you become valuable. Once you become valuable, then you become lucrative. Then you become paid. And you get all types of rewards from that. You don't just get rewarded by money. You get rewarded with a sense of success, personal satisfaction. You're fulfilled. You have purpose. You have direction. You have peace. This all comes from planting a seed of your individuality and growing it with education and discovery. You understand? You go in and find yourself, and then you educate yourself about who you are, and then you begin to use that education to push you forward down your path, to continue growing that seed and blooming that flower. Every piece of knowledge and every piece of information you add unto yourself, that becomes a part of the flower that you bloom. Those become your butterfly wings when you come out of that cocoon of being a caterpillar. These are the things that allow us to create. These are the things that allow us to see the visions that are in our minds. My phone always is going dead. Instagram loves to suck up all of my juice. So y'all just bear with me for a second. Because I can never get this thing to do right when I need it to do right. I'm going to have to adjust this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry because my battery's going dead. Mommy. Yes, Shahid. And of course I can't get it to stand up. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to hold it because I only have a little bit more to say anyway, but y'all can just bear with me. And plus, because my baby is trying to get me up out this seat. And I've been on here for a little minute, but you guys, this is how we need to be thinking about how we're navigating and how we are seeing ourselves in this fear, in this ego, because your ego is your negative thought. And so once you become conscious of your negative thought and you're able to control it, you're able to silence it. Somebody gave me a revelation about meditating, because my thoughts are usually crowding my head in a lot of ways. And it's very difficult for me to be able to meditate and just be at peace in my mind, because my thoughts love to rage like a tornado through my head. And so what he told me is that, basically I need to release my need for thinking. And that's exactly what I'm telling you, because it made perfect sense. When you need to think, when you need to have a thought, it's as if you're unaware of what's already there. In reality, the person creates the value. You create the peace. You create the happiness. You create the whatever it is. So if you just absolutely let go of your need for things, even your need to think, then you just recognize that you already exist in value. You already exist in your purpose. You already exist in who you are. You don't need to necessarily have so much control. You don't need to have control over these things, because they already exist in reality. The only thing that you're charged with doing is learning how to use it. Learn how to use what is already inside of you. And when you learn yourself by way of personal discovery, ask yourself some questions. If Moses would have stopped for a moment and said, hey, come on, self. He's telling you that you're great. This creator is telling you that you're freaking awesome. You don't believe that? Why? Haven't you spoken to people in the past and they listen to you? Why do you feel like nobody's going to listen? Why do you feel like you're not going to be effective? Moses could have asked himself a lot of questions to try to get in there and figure himself out. He could have done some diligence. He could have allowed himself to hear what the creator was saying and simply allowed himself to submit and been like, you know what? I'm not going to overthink this. I know they probably won't listen to me. I probably will be the laughing stock. But so what? My ego doesn't even care, because I'm not egotistical, because if the creator is telling me I need to be used in this way, so what if I'm a laughing stock? So what if I get rejected? I've been rejected before. I know how it feels. It ain't going to hurt me. More than likely, it'll make me stronger. He could have taken another perspective. He could have went inside of himself to find that sense. He could have went inside of himself to find the light that the creator was trying to bring out of him. The creator was trying to bring out his light, saying, you have something inside of you. You are a leader. And I want to use your leadership ability to lead these people into freedom, into free thought. I want to lead them into something that is not only for them, but it's also for you. Moses would have been most satisfied. Moses would have had much fulfillment. Moses would have had much glory being brought to him, because he allowed the glory to come. The creator gives you glory when the creator gives you talent. The creator gives you glory when the creator gives you passion. The creator gives you glory when the creator gives you resources. The creator gives you glory when the creator gives you an audience, when the creator gives you a path, when the creator gives you all these abundant things. These are things that come to us in abundance. You got to learn it. You have to know it. You have to use it. Okay? I'm coming up on an hour, and I want to close out with this answering of this question. I know I'm really late for answering this question, but somebody asked, what is our creator? And I'm going to give you a definition that I like to give about what I feel the creator to be. And that is a set of systems. The creator is Shahid. Shush. The creator is a set of systems. Now, hear me when I say this. Our entire reality, all of our universe, our bodies, our thoughts, even our devices, our creations, the things that we come up with in this reality, it all happens by way of systematic processes. And the thing that created us is just that, a layering of systematic processes. You have laws that are systematic, universal laws that are systematic. You have the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, being able to transmute things. This is what the creator is. It's the systems by which we create. This is the creator, the systems by which man is able to connect to the system, to this source that powers all these systems. Like I said, the law of attraction, the universal law of cause and effect, the law of mentalism. These are systematic things that occur in nature. And this is what the creator is. This is the reason why our bodies are basically a collection of layered systems. They all work together for the purpose of creation. We create things with our bodies. We create things with our minds by way of systematic process. Our creator is no different. We were created by systematic processes. There is a lot that goes into that. Because humanity was created by something, but the energy that exists within humanity, within our human bodies, that energy is systematic. It has a nature that is systematic, and we have to learn how to submit to the nature of that energy, because that's the energy that powers us. That's the source. That is the energy source that powers our systematic body in this 3D dimensional dense matter flesh. So we have to really, begin to understand how to use that and begin to understand those systems and how they come together for the purpose of creation. So I'm glad that brother asked the question the way he did. What is our creator? Because it's not a who. And I need you to know that you are not created by a who. The energy that is within you is a what. It's a what is inside of you. It's not a who. There is no personified presence inside of your body that's controlling you. What's controlling you is systematic process, and you must know how to govern that system, or you have to know how to govern those systems. You have to know how to manipulate those systems. You must know how to create those systems. Okay. You can't create the universal laws. Those are set into stone, but you can create other systems, because that's what makes you a creator. The systems that were created inside of you were there, or they are there so that you can create. You are a co-creator with the creator of the universe, which is a what and not a who. Okay. So as we go into our understanding of the fact that we are creators, then we can understand better that we are the creators of thought. You are the creator of thought. You give your thoughts value. You give your thoughts credence. You give your thoughts the weight that they hold in your life. Your thoughts are powerless to you. And because you know that your thoughts create your reality, you must be intentional about how you create your thoughts. How are you creating your thoughts? Because if you are not aware of that, if you're not doing it with intention, then at some point you will not be able to manifest the reality that you want, because you won't be in control of your thoughts, because you think that they're being created by another source outside of yourself. Your thoughts create your reality, and you create your thoughts. So get up to it. You know what I mean? I love you back. I'll do my best to keep on giving as much truth as I possibly can. But I really want you guys to do as much as you can to help me grow this platform and get these messages out to people. Share my content, visit, subscribe. I have a website, www.reeseroberts.com. Feel free to go there, become a member. I have curated lists of videos and books that are there to help you expand your consciousness. They are there to help you learn some things about reality and how you can conceptualize it in a healthy way. I'm going to sign off on Instagram for a moment. Well, actually, I'm just going to sign off because I'm done. But again, you guys, www.reeseroberts.com. If there are any entrepreneur professionals on here that are interested in my business services company, please go to servincorporated.com. Serv is spelled without the E, so it's just SERV incorporated.com. And I'll see you guys soon on Instagram. I love y'all. Bye. And also, you guys, this is just something that I want you to keep in your mind always, is that you don't need anything outside of yourself to create whatever you're creating. Okay. You don't need anything outside of yourself. Everything that you need exists inside of you. You could say, oh, I don't have no money. But again, like I said, your money is your passion, and that is inside of you. So if you don't have any connection to your passion, then you don't have any connection to your money. It doesn't mean that the money is not there, because that doesn't mean that the passion is not there. What you have to do is basically assign yourself to the money. Assign yourself to the money. Because you being able to allow yourself to be passionate, to be open to your passion, to allow your passion to be expressed. This is the way you're able to gain access to that which is already yours. Okay. This is Entertain the Thought. My name is Reese Roberts. I really hope you guys come back. I'm going to start doing a blog for my business. And so if there's anyone who's interested in that, please make sure that you follow me on SoundCloud, because I'm going to have an entirely different playlist for entrepreneurs and professionals who are attempting to live in a more conscious way when it comes to personal development as well as professional development. Excuse me. And all I'm going to be doing is sharing my journey in doing that, because I'm on a journey to build myself personally and also professionally. It's going quite well, if I do say so myself. So I want to share some of the things that I'm doing, even though they cannot be seen right now. That's okay. Eventually they will be seen, but you guys will be way ahead of the game, because you'll be already in the know with me sharing my journey with you. So do yourself a favor and do me a favor, and go ahead and get tuned in, get plugged in. Shahid, please be quiet. And so you can get tuned in, and we'll be ready to take off. You know, I got some things up my sleeve for y'all, and I want you to be here for it. Okay? Again, my name is Reese Roberts. This is Entertain the Thoughts. I love you guys. Much peace and love and blessings and everything.